With the running game, Paul and Jim yesterday both talked about, and obviously there's a lot of components that go into it. What are the running backs? What have they done, or what are some of the things they've done, some of the mistakes they've made that maybe held back the running game so far?
Yeah, you know what, I think running game is just what you said. It's all encompassing. It's being on the marks. It's reading it out right. It's straining and finishing. I mean, sometimes it's just a little bit of movement's the difference, or you find the fit, but you straining through a block, or reading the hole just right, or trusting it. It hasn't been right for a couple plays, but trusting that same read and coming back to it, and that is the one thing about it, that you love it as an offense because you could speak to every guy how closely it ties into being successful or not successful on a play. But I think that's it. I think sometimes you have some big hits, early success, like earlier in the year, and you realize, what, those sometimes it's 4 yards that's there. You better get it, and you better stay in normal down, and but those are all things I think we got to across the board get better at and continue to fight through and get more consistent with it.
Did James maybe have, I don't want to say too much success, but did he hit some of those early where he bounced it outside and maybe he had success with it and started thinking he should do that more often, or maybe he's more inclined to do that?
I think if you run something and you do it a certain way, it doesn't mean it's still the read that you have to of the play that makes it successful. And because it fit one time one way doesn't mean the next time you come back to it it'll be the same fit. Defensively they're going to change their structure. So you gotta be honest with your reads, and you gotta be diligent about going through it. And it might be right where you want to be, and you may not gain a yard. It might be a collapse on the backside, but you got where you needed to get. But you got to come back to it because the next time it may all be clean back there. But it's the right read to get to. So that consistency, that maturity, we're fighting for it, scratching for it. So
is the running game the kind of thing you got to keep hammering at before? If it doesn't work in the first quarter, well, you don't give up on it.
Yeah, I think you do. I really do. I think you do. I think you got to keep wearing it out as much as you can. And there's obviously a balance to it. You got guys that can make plays in the perimeter, so you make some choices there. But yeah, I think the more you come back to that, the better you're going to get at it.
Joe, how important is Notre Dame's defensive front to what they want to do defensively?
Well, I think they have. They obviously have great size up front. They got great athleticism. I think those guys play for them, and it allows them to, they do a little bit more defensively where they'll press you a little bit more. They'll show you a few different looks, and even more than they did last year. But those guys up front make it happen. They can sit in their base and play defense, and those guys they're good. They're good players.
It looked like on Saturday night you guys tried to focus a lot on sort of short and medium passing. Is that something that you want to do going in, or was that just what Georgia Tech was giving in that game?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I think there's probably a little bit of emphasis on the fact that you come down off of some deeper things, and then I think they were there. They were there to come down to. So probably a little bit of the week kind of stressing certain details, and it did show up.
It's kind of 2 weeks in a row, even, right? I think the Navy game there were 8 passes to backs and tight ends. I mean, is that maybe your understanding Tom has come to, or something you've tried to stress with him more going back over the last couple of weeks?
I think a little bit, and obviously protections have something to do with it, where guys are getting out and just the design of the routes themselves. But we feel confident in those guys to make plays and to do things within the passing game, and haven't felt differently from that. But you're trying to have a good mix and a good balance with the protections you're doing, along with the number of concepts you're carrying. But no, we got a lot of confidence in those guys to be able to make plays.
What kind of things does James need to learn to really complete his cycle and become a complete player?
You know what? I just think I think the consistency factor. I think just being consistently, and it is an effort wise. You know what I mean? I mean, he'll try to run through the wall for you. Just consistency on the mental side. Sometimes all those details can feel heavy. And getting him to just trust those details, and he knows that, and he's working his tail at that. But that's the area where he can grow.
Do you notice a little pep in the step this week because who you guys are playing a chance to really make kind of a statement here with this particular game, or is it week in, week out, same thing?
Yeah, no, I mean I don't think you have to remind them who they're playing this week. I think they're excited for the game. you know, and so you do feel that, and you want that same feeling every week, you know, but they're excited. I mean, they're excited to be able to come back home and play in front of our fans. I mean, they're pumped about that.
Coach Chris has said multiple times that he's over the loss from last year. From your aspect, do you kind of think you left one out there?
No, we talked about it. We said independent events. You know what I mean? They are completely separate from one another, different team, different year, and let's go. They're excited for this chance.